And I know certainly in my religion, and you're a Christian, for which I greatly respect you. I love my Christian brothers and sisters and the strong morality at the center of the Christian faith. If you hurt someone in public, sometimes you need to take responsibility in public. So of course there has to be a private apology.
Right.
But I think that you and I, as men who want to try to be honorable amidst all the pressures that life throws at us, and God Almighty, there's so many pressures, but we still want to be honorable. That if we do something that is questionable or that's wrong, then we need to say unequivocally, I've done something of which I'm not proud. It's not who I am. I'm sorry. I take full responsibility, and I'm asking your forgiveness. And I've said it to my wife many times. I've said it in front of our children on many occasions. I always apologize in front of my kids because I want my kids to apologize one day. And I don't want my daughters married to a man who will ever wrong them without taking responsibility. I want my daughters to be married to a man who, if he messes up, because he's human. Perfect people are a bore to me. I have no interest in them. I want people who struggle. But I want men who take responsibility. And I've tried to do that, however imperfectly. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's hard for me. It's hard for me because I can't forgive myself for the things I've done. So to ask for forgiveness from someone who may never forgive me is tough for me. So I do ask Kate, I do apologize to Kate. I am sorry for doing the things that I did, and I do ask for her forgiveness.
Well, I gotta tell you, see, only a real man would say what you just said. And it doesn't make a difference if you ever get the forgiveness or not. What makes a difference is that you did the right thing. You can never go wrong when you do right.
And it's hard for, I mean, it is hard for me. It's hard. I mean, I didn't really grow up this way. So I don't blame my parents or my grandparents, but it's like, you know, I'm learning as I go. And I have all these outside pressures on me, you know, telling me like, douchebag, this and that. I look at you know, and I just keep on going because I don't really have a choice. I gotta work, I gotta provide, I gotta take care of my kids, and so does Kate. I mean, we're all providing for one thing, for our kids. We're not providing for ourselves because we have 8 kids. When you divide up all the money, there's not much left. You know, it's all, it just kind of, 2 months ago, it just kind of all came crumbling down and just didn't know what to do anymore. And Mike introduced me to a rabbi, and that's who I went to talk to. Not because he's Jewish or a rabbi or any of that stuff, it's just, I had no one else. You know, I have Haley and her family, and they've been so supportive of me, you know, but then when I met with the panel with rabbi and stuff like that, and it kind of all just came together, and I had an epiphany. I have a lot of epiphanies these days. I just like that word, and it kind of was like, when I met with them, it was like the first time I felt convicted. And I haven't felt that in like 8 months. So it was like, you know, even with the him, I was like, what am I doing? I don't really want this, you know. I don't really want paparazzi standing outside my building. Or, you know, I fear coming across the GW because I know the paparazzi outside my building. But I gotta come to work. I fear leaving, that they're gonna follow me to Pennsylvania. Because when I go to Pennsylvania, I wanna be left alone. You know? That's why I go into the woods, so I'm not photographed. So I take my kids in the backyard, not the front yard, so I'm not photographed. You know, and it's totally changed my life. And you know, it's hard. You know, it's not an easy life because, you know, I always say to myself, if I could buy back my privacy, I would.
John, let me just say one thing. You mentioned that it's very difficult for you to say you're sorry because you say you weren't raised with it, and I assume that's a reference to you didn't witness enough apologies when you grew up?
No, I didn't see anything. I just saw 2 people dissolve. And I looked at my grandparents and they dissolved. And you know, it's like you kept on seeing failure in this marriage, failure in that marriage. You know, I always questioned, I didn't get to question my father because he's passed away. They're like, why didn't you stick it out? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? I don't have the opportunity to ask him because he's not here anymore. you know, but I was younger, so I didn't care. I didn't care. When I was 15, my parents got divorced, and you know what, they were better friends after divorce, so I was like, this might work out. But I was so involved in myself, self-absorbed in myself, and school, and going to college, and doing all that thing, that I didn't even think about my parents much. And they never talked to us about it anyway, till we were older. And then my dad passed away when it was too late. So I never had an opportunity to actually ask him. I've asked my mother, but that's one-sided, because I didn't get to hear my father's side. So all I know of my parents' divorce is what my mother's told me.
But you didn't see a model
No,
of a father saying to a mother,
correct.
I'm sorry for hurting you.
Correct. But I don't want...
You don't want to put the blame, I understand.
But I have boys...
But you do want to break the pattern.
Right, I have children too. And I have boys too. But
you want to raise honorable men.
Correct, I want them to see...
Do the right thing.
Exactly. And Kate should see the same with her daughters. And, you know, we always say that I will be the model of my daughter's husbands. So if I act the way I'm acting, they will probably marry someone like me, and I have to live with it. And the same as my sons with my wife.
Would you want that? Would you want them?
In the last 8 months, probably not. That would be very bad. I'd probably be very upset with that. I would definitely be upset with that. And it's not, you know, it's not a double standard. It's real. That's how it is.
It's not a double standard.
No,
it's that
it
we each have competing impulses inside us. As you said before, part of us wants to do the right thing. It's selfless. There's another part of us that's wounded, that's hurt, and gives in to that pain. But pain should never determine our morality. What you're saying is if you did so much of this out of pain, just to get away from the pain, but all it did was cause more pain. It didn't solve anything, it just compounded it.
And they call that self-destruction.
Right? Self-destruction is where pain motivates your actions.
So I've been learning to settle down. Like, the optimal thing, not going to college. Well, that's not my deal. You know, I've been offered Amazing Race and Survivor and all these other shows that, you know, might add money to your pocket now, but in the long run, it's nothing.
But John, beyond, you know, you said a couple of things. You said that you find it difficult to forgive yourself. You find it difficult to request forgiveness to someone who may not give it, because that's a feeling of further submissiveness like you had in your marriage, and that's very uncomfortable. I understand that. But you know what I've learned as a father of 9 children, thank God? At the end of the day, the people whose opinion matters most to me, and this is even amidst the wife is very loving of me, because my wife will at least knows me as a soulmate and knows my heart. The people whose opinion matters the most to me is my kids. There is nothing more painful than to feel judged by your own children. Nothing. You will go through all of life and you'll have a boss that doesn't like you, friends who reject you, and you will survive it. If you one day have one child who thinks that you did the wrong thing and who looks away from you, especially when you try to give them advice about life, and they're thinking in their minds, and you know what they're thinking when they roll their eyes, like, you, the hypocrite, are telling me what to do with my life, that is pain of such enormous devastation that's difficult to survive. So we have to be an example to our kids. Do you agree with that?
I agree.